Morning all, Sunday 18th of October 2020. So here we are again, hot on the heels of publishing part 2 of the exhaust yesterday. Then we're back in the garage to begin knitting this together, and the first area to focus upon is I want to tack that together and then grind the two ends square to make it concentric, because at the moment it's not. And as we discussed last time, thinking about the geometry of it, then just taking a V out of one side and bending it round wouldn't enable us to do that without a bit more jiggery pokery. So that's what we're going to do today. Also put a couple of tacks on that and possibly get round to grinding a bit more off this end and tacking on the cone once that's sat in there a bit better. So got the angle grinder batteries charging up, and then we're going to do this outside, because the last thing we want is to set fire to anything in the garage. So I've got the workbench out with the sacrificial silencer in that we're going to do some testing on first and some practicing. So as you can see, I've already done a bit of a test on this to grind off the chrome off the surface, so we get a good clean surface to do a bit of practicing on. We've got the welder just about set up, well out of the way, and it's time to get the overalls on and the kit on, boots and the mask and gloves. But we'll be doing so a bit of grinding first, so we'll have just the eye protectors too. So plan of action is, just to recap, grind some clear areas off that sacrificial piece of chrome silencer there, do a bit of practicing, and then we'll come back and we'll clamp these to the bench, and we'll tack those up and we'll take it from there. Right, let's just get kitted up and we'll begin. Right, all the safety kit on. Got the grinder charged up. So we'll just grind a bit more of this to give us a decent surface on which we can practice on with the welder. Okay, that's given us plenty to work with, so I'll just clamp this down a little better and then we'll fire up the welder. Right, welding mask, welding gloves, earth on. Power onto welder. Welder on. Right. Right, got interrupted a bit there, but done a bit. Anyway, so let me just bring you around to have a quick look. Right, these are just my attempts at spot welding. Actually, just once I got the hang of getting the feed going, and then actually it petered out here a bit because it's not feeding any wire, so I think it may have run out of the wire, but I do have a new coil, so let's see what's going on with that, and hopefully we can get that moving again. Okay, right, there's plenty of wire, and I think what the problem is, or was, is that I'm holding the tip too close to the work, so I'm almost melting the wire into the tip, so I just need to hold it a little bit further away. So I think we're okay. So we'll get going again. Right, getting to know the nuances of this, so let me just show you this. Right, tacking is going to be no problem. However, we need to move pretty quick across the work, otherwise it burns through. But if you move a bit quicker, you get quite a nice run. But hanging about, and I was wondering why all of a sudden it started sputtering, etc. Well, it's because I was trying to weld a hole. So there you go. So we need to be pretty quick. So let me just have another few practices at that, and then we should be okay. But yeah, just need to bear that in mind. Okay, I've just set up the cone now in in a clamp, so it's in mole grips clamped to the bench, and we'll just try and tack the seam here that I've clamped together again. And once we've got a couple of tacks on that, we can take the hose clip off, put a couple of more tacks in if we turn it round, and then we'll grind it to get some concentricity. Right, we'll let that cool off a bit. Not too bad. We'll let that cool off a bit, and then we'll turn it round. Right, we've got quite a few tacks on there on that cone. They're a bit blobby, and I was fighting it a bit with respect to burning it too much. But let me just begin tidying that up, and we'll see where we are with it. Right, I think it's going to be okay actually. Just need to change the battery on the grinder, and I'll tidy it up a bit more, and I'll begin to shape the ends a bit, and we'll see where we are with them. But I think this is going to be okay. Okay everyone, after a bit more jiggery pokery with the welder and the grinder, we're getting there. Got a bit of tidying up to do at this end because I had to build it up a little bit because it blew through at one point, but it seems to be okay now. There's plenty of thickness there, so I just needed to tidy up the inner surface a bit. It's not quite concentric, but it's a lot better than it was, and I'm pretty pleased with that, because I think that's going to work. A bit of more tidying up to do there with the flapper disc once I've finished grinding, but that's okay. And the state of play now with respect to the end of the silencer is that it's a slightly smaller diameter than the end of the silencer OD, but that's okay, because I think that will facilitate, you know, getting a bead of weld around there without hopefully damaging it too much, and also that will then actually mimic the scene of this original silencer, where there's a bead there, but then this cone is a slightly smaller diameter where it begins there, so you've got a bit of a step. Let me dig the bike out and I'll show you that a bit closer. Right, there we go, there's a better view. So you can see there's a bead of weld there, but there is a slight step down, and we should be able to mimic that. And similarly at the other end there, before the clamped end. Right, so the next victim is the end of the silencer that clamps onto the pipe. So we'll just put a tack in here, turn it around, tack the other end, and then we might be in a position to tack the three pieces together: the main silencer, the cone, and then this end piece to go onto the pipe. Right, there we are. So reasonable concentric cone tacked on to the main body, with the end piece tacked onto that. Bit of tidying up to do yet, and obviously got to finish the seams as well, which will take a bit of doing. I've not tacked on the cone yet, but if we just compare where we are with the bike, cone's a little bit shorter there, I'm not too worried about that, but we've got the length as well, and the cone's a little different on that end, which we expected, but I think the cone that we've got on this one is more faithful to the original than the one that was made up for the Bandit, as I think is a temporary by the factory. So we've got the length right, slightly disproportionate with some of the bits and pieces, but nothing too drastic. So pretty pleased with that. So we'll end that this episode at this point, which is part 3, and then in part 4, when we come back, we'll aim to tidy up this end and put the cone on. We've got a bit of grinding to do because we've got a sort of a slight flared edge on that, which we don't want, and I'll probably need to take a bit of the flange off this. We don't need all that either. But that is going to be a little bit more demanding, because this, I think, is thinner than that. So we'll have to be a little bit careful. But anyway, progress. So, as I say, we'll leave it there. Thanks very much for watching, everybody. Thanks for subscriptions and comments, and I'll see you all again soon. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.